Get him up there, son.
Little buzzbait blow up for the morning.
Fishing Lake Arthur. Summertime bass fishing. Stay tuned, it's going to be a good one.
Start.
This week, DVO travels 6 hours west to Moraine State Park, home of a 3,200-acre warm water fishery called Lake Arthur. Common species in Lake Arthur are northern pike, largemouth bass, channel catfish, black crappie, and bluegill. Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission stocks muskies, walleye, channel catfish, and hybrid striped bass. Lake Arthur is a shallow lake that averages about 12 feet deep. Today, we're fishing for schooling bass.
Realize this is a nice one.
Yeah.
Need a hand?
Decent fish.
We throw a buoy out here. Oh yeah, it's a little chunk. Here you go. Watch the trouble.
There you go. Nice little Lake Arthur fish. Yeah, I'm out here in Lake Arthur again with my good friend John Hawthorne. John, you convinced me the first time. I had to come back a second time.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
We did great.
We're out here. Again, we're using search baits right now just to see if we can pick up some fish. Fish are they're feeding on the shad in here.
Yeah.
And we're just going around these bays and just hitting the fish. If we find a couple fish like this is basically a schooling fish, I would think.
Yep.
And we're just going to keep fishing it. So let me get the pliers on this and we'll do it.
Right off those weeds and just.
I see, that's when you rip it through the weeds. Yeah.
I was like, no, it's just weeds. No, it's a fish. I think he just figured out he was hooked.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. He slapped at it sideways.
Yeah.
That's why he feels twice his size. Oh. Open mouth. There we go.
Yeah, no, that fish actually slapped at that
Right,
bait.
it just kind of turned on it a little bit, reacted to
Right.
it.
And then as you ripped it through the
Right,
weeds.
the weeds. Fortunately, some sharp hooks got
Yeah.
a hold of them. So.
A lot of times you got to remember to do that when you're fishing such a weedy area we are, that when you do hit those weeds, it's really good to rip your bait through
Right,
them.
Absolutely.
So that you can make that reaction strike.
Reaction. Sometimes a fish will eat because he's hungry. Sometimes they're just going to just hit the bait just because
Yeah,
they're just responding to it.
right. And a lot of times, I know even with rattle traps and stuff like that, we'll just rip them through, and they tear out of the weeds pretty easily.
Pretty good, yeah. Got a fish. Another one.
I got two.
Doubles. Might be time to kick the buoy out here, Robert. Oh, good. Mine's bigger than yours.
Let me see. No, I don't think so. Look, see how big mine is. Look. John, we're out here. Oh, we're on Lake Arthur, and we were out here before. We're coming out here again. Tell us a little bit about mine's. Yeah, yours is bigger than mine.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the lake.
Well, we're about 30 miles north of Pittsburgh, and the lake's about 3,200 acres, and it's in Moraine State Park. It has pretty much the same regulations as Nakamixon back home, 20 horsepower limit, which is why it's just perfect for this boat, or perfect for a lot of guys we know that fish back home that don't have super duper big bass boats. And it's mostly a bass lake, but more and more it's getting known for a muskie lake. A lot of guys like to come out here and muskie fish. It's also got hybrid stripers in it, and certainly we see a lot of people fishing for crappies and bream and catfish and stuff.
Yeah, that's real popular out here, the cat.
Yeah, we don't see a whole lot of people bass
They
fishing.
don't. You really don't.
A lot of people out here fishing for, for meat, for panfish, for whatever, and so we haven't had too much competition fishing for bass.
A lot of people come out here in the pontoon boats, and they'll anchor up with bobbers and minnows and stuff like that.
And a barbecue, and
which does smell good, come to think of it, when we go buy them. But anyway, the lake does carry big. It's a trophy lake too, right? It's a big
trophy
fish
lake. Yeah, 15-inch minimum on bass. Only 4 per. There are some smallmouth in here, but that's really not the primary species.
And a lot of times, the structure here dictates where we're actually going to fish most of the time.
And again, these fish are really not particularly relating to one spot. These are like schooling fish that are just kind of in these flats or in these little bays that are chasing shad. We can see schools of shad just about everywhere in here, and we're just kind of roaming through trying to isolate them. And once we find, a group, we'll throw a buoy out just so we can kind of mark the spot, because we're out here in the middle of the lake.
Yeah, there's really no defining structure.
Right, and just to make sure we get back here, we're actually using a little GPS as well to, try to mark these locations, and that's weeds. Just so we can get back to them if we need to.
We're coming into these bays, and what John has discovered is that they almost have like little trails or little roads through the reed beds. And what we're doing is we're looking for those little inlets.
It's like an avenue, or yeah.
And then we're fishing. So we're fishing the center of them, and then we shoot to the sides. But basically, we're trying to stay in the middle of it, which also helps us because it's a little less weedy, so we can get our baits through. But that's what we're looking for when we go into these bays, is those little areas where it's open water, but surrounded on each side by the weeds, because it just tapers down a little bit, and then it goes back up into the edges.
That was right. That's a little better one.
Yeah.
Better than last time.
Come over here, little devil.
See if there's a group of them out there.
He's fine.
These fish think they're bigger than they are.
All right, come here. Come on. Come over here. Again, what we're doing is going through these weed beds. But one of the things that when you got to remember when you go through beds in a crankbait, you're going to get stuck with weeds. So if you mind getting weeds on your lures, forget this idea.
Yeah.
But the old saying, where there's grass, there's bass.
Yeah.
And what I've been doing with my crankbait, which is a fat wrap Rapala, is that instead of keeping my rod down low to the water, I'm actually keeping it up, because I'm not letting that bait dig down as much as I would like to, but I'm just keeping it up. So it's a little tip for you. If you're in a lot of weeds, keep your rod tip up and just work your reel. And what I'm doing is working it, pausing a little bit so it rises up, working it, pausing a little bit. It might get you some more strikes.
Bob, I think it's important to mention that not many people are going to use a crankbait in a weed bed like this. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're having so much success. Everybody will come in here and try a spinnerbait or something like that, but so this is probably something these fish really haven't seen too much.
Ooh, nice fish.
Man, drag's a little loose.
There you go.
All right, that's a little better, huh?
Yeah, yeah. We changed locations here a little bit, because we we ran out of fish over our other spot, so we came to another bay. We went out to another bay, and I'm still throwing a crankbait. I had a couple of hits on it, but John said he was going to slow down a little bit, and that's one of the things you got to do with your two anglers.
Yep.
One is don't fish the same bait all the time. I mean, if you're catching fish on something, you do it, but in order when you're searching for fish, use two different styles. Now we see if pick up another fish on a worm, then we'll really slow down and really work the bait. But John, tell us a little bit about Lake Arthur. How you discovered it, and why you came all the way out here.